Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Sharita Weatherspoon, and I am here to share with you one of our phenomenal women authors of the Love Letters to My Girls anthology. Today, we have Rachelle Sargent with us. Rachelle is a business process and change management leader in the organization that she works with. Now, you should know that I've known Rachelle for a long time. We went to college together, so we knew each other before we were savvy and sophisticated. So there are some stories we could tell. But we both turned out all right. So before we jump into the conversation with Rachelle, I just want to remind you again about the Love Letters to My Girls anthology and the mission that we're on to inspire and empower Black women and girls around the world. We are so excited about the response that we've gotten for this project and the support that we've gotten, but we're going to need more of your support to really have the impact that we want to have. So I want to encourage you to visit loveletterstomygirls.com, sign up to join our update list so we can keep you updated with what's going on with the project. Get your feedback on, some of our design and aesthetic things as it relates to our book cover and our t-shirt designs, but also so we can share with you the opportunities that you'll have to support the project, whether that's through helping to fund the scholarship, or whether it's to help fund donations of the book to organizations around the world that serve Black women and girls. So there's lots of ways that you can participate and be a part of this, even if you are not one of our women authors. So again, visit loveletterstomygirls.com to join the list. So Rachelle. All right. So first, I want you to share with our viewers about who you are, what you do, and the impact that you're having in the world.
Sure. So I am a married woman to a fantastic husband named Lamont. I have 3 children, James, who is 17, and Bella, who is 12, going on 13, and Carrington, who is 8. And I'm a working mother. So I really do thrive outside of the home. I enjoy working. And so that's who I am. I'm one of those rare professionals who stuck around in their company for a long time. So I have a number of experiences and that have helped me really learn and grow, especially with having to sometimes redefine yourself and evolve yourself, even whenever you're around the same people. And so, that's who I am.
Okay. So tell us about the topic of the letter that you're writing for the book and what you hope the reader will get from it.
Sure. So I am writing, You Are Brilliant. I love the brilliant category. And the reason why I chose that category is because we really are brilliant women. But sometimes there are roadblocks. Some are self-inflicted roadblocks. Some are, man-made roadblocks that can really make us question our brilliancy and our relevance, right? And so I wanted to write to the women who are, in the professional world, working in the church, working in all community activities, right? And essentially helping them to understand how to get past the roadblocks that sometimes present themselves and make us question ourselves.
So Well, this might be helpful because, our authors are approaching the different topics from different perspectives. So define for us what brilliant means to you.
Sure. So brilliant to me means being intellectually curious, right? I think it's important that as we are living our lives, that we never reach a place of feeling that we have arrived, but always committed to being a learner and just being curious, always asking the 5 whys for everything, right? Your personal decisions you have to make inside of business, constantly convincing yourself and challenging your own self not to be stagnant. So being brilliant to me is a woman who remains intellectually curious.
Okay, so I think there's 2 things I want to pause on from what you said. So you mentioned the 5 whys. Now, I'm pretty sure I know what that is, unless it's a totally different concept than what I'm familiar with. But I know a lot of people don't. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So anytime that you are faced with a decision, right, and you are trying to seek information so as to make the best decision, as you're seeking the information and conversing with someone, they're giving you information, you ask, well, why? Why is that true, right, for whatever you're seeking? And then typically the person will answer, give you some more context, and then you ask why again, right, for that new context. And essentially what you're trying to do is ensure that the information that you are using to make your decisions is really rooted in something that is firm, it's factual, right? Because oftentimes, and this is a statistic in change management, when you converse with someone, it takes them 5 to 7 times to really hear a message before they actually hear the message. So oftentimes, if you ask someone information, their response is typically me focused at first. What does this mean for me? What do they want from me? They're not even answering really what you're asking. And so it just kind of helps to ensure that you're getting the information that you need, right? And not just the information from the person's filter, if you will.
Right. Okay. So that's really good. I've used the 5 whys in a couple of different things. A lot of times I've used it in working with clients in terms of, really getting to their why. So, a lot of times people will say as entrepreneurs, you ask them, like, why do you want to do this? For my family, for my children. But why is that important?
That's right.
Because that's such a generic answer. You know what I mean? What does it really mean?
Right.
And we try to get down to the detail of the experience or the result that they want this business to actually bring to their family.
That's right.
Because that deeper why is the thing that will get you out of the bed when you don't want to get out. Just that. I'm doing it for my family. Well, sometimes your family makes you mad, and I'm going to stay in bed. I'm not cooking dinner. I'm not. Y'all on your own today.
That's right.
What I mean?
That's right.
So when you can get to the deeper why,
that
is the thing that will push you forward.
That's right.
I've also used it in terms of like just the importance, like kid wants to do something, like, why do you want to do it? Because why? Like, I need you to understand.
That's right.
Why?
That's right.
This is important to you, or why you did what you did. Whatever that situation may be. So I love the idea of applying it in the context of conversation from people when you're really trying to get information from someone to help you make a decision, asking them the why. Because a lot of times it's been more internal. Getting people to think more reflectively about themselves and what they want.
That's right.
But using it in interactions with other people to draw out of them what you need to either make a decision, be more effective,
Right.
you know,
Right.
in
Right.
what you're doing.
It's true.
Is that's actually a really good tip that I'm hoping our viewers, take away and begin to do that. And I think you'd be surprised that not only the clarity that you get, but
That's
the clarity that they get.
That's right.
Um,
And it's so true, right? Because oftentimes when people are conversing, everyone is essentially coming with their own personal operating systems, right? There's a way that I work. I have these experiences that have shaped me, that has led me to certain beliefs. I have this operating system inside of me, right? And we're both trying to essentially get through that operating system to a thread of truth, if you will.
Right. Yes. So yes, really good. And then you mentioned, the whole idea of being intellectually curious. And why I think that that's important, and I'm glad that I asked you to define that, because a lot of times as Black women, we shrink back from all of the gifts and the skills and the talent that we have, and we don't let ourselves shine. We don't allow ourselves to be brilliant. We sit in, boardrooms around tables or in team meetings, and we know.
That's right.
But we don't say anything because we know that our voice isn't going to be valued. People are going to question what our ideas and thoughts are, or question, really they're questioning why you're even at the table. Do you belong at the table? Right.
That's right.
And we buy into that. We almost feel like it's easier just to, sit in their idea of who we are than it is to be authentically ourselves in whatever that role is.
That's right.
So I think, applying that concept, it's about speaking up and speaking out and asking your questions and sharing your ideas and being willing to risk being wrong or making a mistake in your pursuit of excellence.
That's right. That's right. And it's so interesting. One concept, one tenet that I always express to people who have been labeled or misunderstood, and it's preventing you from being your brilliant self, is to allow yourself to grieve, right? The experiences that you have had are real, right? You have been shut out, right? People have minimized you, right? But instead of allowing that to shape your future transactions with people and in your lives, allow yourself to grieve it, right? It's something happened. It's not what you thought was going to happen, but you have to let yourself feel the grief. And I don't think that is a tenet of living life that is really taught in our community, to let ourselves, if you need to well up and go into a corner, you need to go ahead and do that. You need to let that out, right? Because in many ways it's going to prevent, you're holding it in and then you blow up, right? It's going to prevent that. But then also it just clears the way for you, right, to recalibrate yourself and to walk back into the brilliancy that you were designed to live in, right? And the brilliancy that you were designed to bring to the earth, right? And to those around you. But it's just a tenet that people, I think as Black women, we pull up our bootstraps and brown women, and we keep moving. And that's important, but it's equally important to allow yourself to have a grieving period.
Right. Yes. Because it's difficult to move forward positively without grief. And while a part of grief might be, weeping and sorrow and sadness, it very often and probably should include a period of anger as well, and sometimes I think we get lost there. Like we might go home and we cry to our friends, our partners, but we don't release the anger. And then you show back up into that situation, and now, you're cold.
Right.
You got your purse slips, you
That's right.
got short responses, you
That's
got
right.
per my previous email
That's right.
responses.
That's right.
And
That's
it's
right.
like, you've got something on your heart that you need to get out. And
That's
while, of
right.
course, there might be a preferred way to get the anger out, probably not the best way
Right.
to get
Right.
it out.
Right.
You have to find a productive way to release that anger
That's right.
as well as the sadness.
That's right.
Because all of it's not impacting any of the people that hurt you.
Mm-mm.
It's only impacting you.
That's right.
Yes, yes. And the people who have to live with you and be around you when you
That's right.
bring all of that back home.
That's right. That's right. You're snapping on them, or you're expressing anger to someone who has
Right.
nothing to do with the situation,
Yes.
because you're not allowing yourself the time to grieve. Yeah.
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned you have 2 daughters, Bella and Carrington.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever told you that I love their names. I don't know if I
Oh,
told you that. Yes.
good.
So, I don't know if they know that mommy is writing this letter for this book. But, obviously when the book comes out, it's going to be there. I know you're going to sit down and read it with them.
Yeah.
So, what do you want them to get from, the fact that you participated in this project, and then, what the book itself means?
That's right. I want to create a legacy for them of experiences for how to live life, right? It's not always the what, sometimes it's the how, right? And the reason why I wanted to talk about the roadblocks that can dim your brilliance is because children have to learn how to live life, especially in an era where there's this entitlement, right? I see it in my own children, right? And knowing how I was raised, I certainly wasn't raised in an entitlement way, but the amount of information that they are exposed to makes them feel very much as if I know what's going on and I'm entitled and whatever. But they're not learning how to live life, right? Because there are truly ebbs and flows, and in some seasons, long ebbs, right? Right. And we know, as adults, we understand that even whenever you have a highlight in your life, the very next day you can go to an ebb, right? And how do you balance that, right? I think that that's really what I want to leave for them, is this legacy for how to live. How to live as adults. I often say I'm not raising children, I am raising adults, right? Because they need to learn how to survive and how to thrive, right? And not just, thank God we made the mortgage this year. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How to thrive in life. That's really what I want them to get from this letter, and I'm hoping from all the letters, right? It's a legacy to these brown girls, right? That there hasn't been a generation ahead of you who have done it, and we expect for you to do it better and go beyond. That's what I want them to know.
Yes, wonderful. So do they know that you're writing the letter?
No, they don't, right? And I do that because they're kids, and then they'll constantly talk about it and constantly ask questions to the point of like, I don't even want to write the letter, okay? All that, right?
Wait till you get the book in your hand, right?
Right.
Look what mommy did.
It's true, and I handle their whole childhood that way. I don't tell them when we're traveling, the night before, right? I don't want to be inundated.
Okay, that's a good one. I probably need to implement that.
Yes.
Awesome. So, why did you decide to be a part of this project?
Oh, sure. I believe that it's so easy to really live life on your own, so much so that you are alone, and you have a number of private battles right?
Mhm.
And sometimes, life can be challenging and you're kind of led to believe that no one else is going through it. And
Mhm.
I want to be a voice that's, that essentially says, we're all walking this walk together. You're not alone, right? And really, I'm in my own microcosm, right? I go to work every day. I come home every night, right? And I have this very mundane routine. And in our world, mundane is actually good, right? Because nothing is going on
Right,
and there's no
right.
disturbance, right?
Right,
But in that same way, are you really being a light to others? Are you being accessible to others? And
right.
I thought it was just a way to give back, to step out of my microcosm and say, hey, there are some lessons I want to share, some hard knocks that I went through,
Mhm.
that it took me a long time to understand that through it all, I'm still brilliant.
Right, right. Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm so glad to have you a part of this mission on this journey, and I just can't wait to see what happens
Yes.
as a result of the work and the love that we're putting into this
Yes.
project. So again, if you're joining us, I just want to remind you about the Love Letters to My Girls, 100 Black Women Speak to the Hearts of Black Women and Girls anthology project. It is much more than a book, though. This is really a movement, and we are looking to present more than 100 love letters in book form to Black women and girls around the world to inspire, uplift, motivate, and empower them on their journeys, to use the power of our words to exact influence on them, to be, kind of pocketbook coaches, pull,
That's
pull
right.
out the book, read it when you need some encouragement, when you need some motivation or inspiration,
Mhm.
and to let our sisters know that we see you and we recognize your value and your power and your beauty and uniqueness, and we're here to support you in being your best self and your most authentic self, regardless of what the world is saying,
Right.
to make you think otherwise.
That's right.
You are absolutely phenomenal.
That's right. That's right.
So we're doing a number of things. We're doing the scholarship fund. We will be supporting the scholarship by donating profits made from the virtual launch of the book
Good.
online to fund the scholarship. But we also want other folks to help support that. The more money we're able to build in that fund, the more scholarships we're able to give out. But we know that we will be doing at least 2 scholarships, one for women under 21 and one for women over 21. Those scholarship funds will be able to be used for education, training, or business startup. And then we're also going to be working to donate copies of the book to organizations that serve Black women and girls around the world. So we're
Oh,
definitely
awesome.
going to need your help in making that happen. So we're going to put some special packages together. Get yourself a book, get your girlfriends, your wife, your aunties, your
Mhm.
sisters, a couple of books, and then donate some books as well. So we're going to be looking for your support in making that happen. And you can sign up at loveletterstomygirls.com so that you can be a part of that.
That's right.
Now, Rachelle, before we close out the interview, I want to ask that you just share some encouraging words with those who are viewing this interview.
Sure. I think my words are very succinct. Uh, you are unstoppable,
Mm,
and the only one who can stop you is you.
mm. That is absolutely true. That was very powerful in its succinctness.
Succinctness. That's right.
Yes, you are the only one that can stop you.
That's right.
What I think is important about that is, we often find people or things or situations to blame.
Mm,
We, look to say it was this thing that happened to me that caused me to be this way, and that's why I don't,
right.
do this. But the reality is that it's all a choice.
That's right.
Things happen to you, people happen to you, and you have whatever that experience is in the moment.
That's right.
But once that experience is over, how do you choose to move forward,
That's
or
right.
do you choose not to?
That's right.
Yeah, so so
You
powerful.
know, yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
So thank you for joining
Okay.
me for this interview conversation.
Hmm. Hmm. Sure.
And for all of you viewing, thank you for tuning in as well. And I will
Thank
leave
you.
you with what I normally leave you with, and reminding you that your words are powerful. They have the power to inspire, to uplift, to motivate, and empower. So go ignite the power in your words. Thank you all. Peace and blessings.